The haunting hour is at hand. Ghostly haunting since time began. Raw side paranormal seeks the truth, looking for some kind of real proof. Creepy floorboards and eerie dark mist. Grab your camera and document this. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. The icy air touches your neck. You feel like screaming, but you stay in check. Orbs rising up to take the magical flight. You can't believe what's happening tonight. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Raw Side. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. I know Saturday is not my usual day, but I have to accommodate my guests and go on when they are available. Tonight, I am excited to have on Ontario Paranormal Magazine, Don and Karrie. I'm just waiting for them to pop in so they can join in on the show. Remember, everybody, please be kind in the comments. And we are going to welcome Don. Hello, Don. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing all right. Happy to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
That's good. Is Karrie going to be able to join us?
I'm not sure. I know she had surgery there just the other day, so
Right. Yeah, that's why I was wondering. I wasn't sure if she was going to be up for it. Well, if she
Yeah.
comes, then we'll add her in. If not, then we'll just move forward. The best we
Okay.
can do. Again, just wonderful to have you on. Actually, you're one of the ones that first gave my first gift ever from being on YouTube. I have it hanging on the wall here. Don had wrote a poem and gave it to me. Very wonderful. I thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome. That's what I do for people, and
I was very, very glad to get it. It's like I said, the first time anybody's ever given me, that kind of a gift doing what I'm doing. And so you're on the wall.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. What I want to ask first is pretty much, I don't know if a lot of people know about your magazine, and it's Ontario Paranormal Magazine, everybody. So you guys go look him up. Very interesting articles, interesting people that he interviews. But you are so much more. Your accolades are amazing. You have awards in photography, and
Yes, I do.
you're a poet, an investigator, pretty much a teacher as well, and a trainer in the paranormal, which is fantastic. But we really want to know first, before we get into the magazine and all of that great stuff, I would like
Okay.
to know, a lot of my viewers like to know the person behind the product. And tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Well, back as a child, I believe it was around the age of 5. That's when I realized I could see things other people couldn't see, like spirits and that, and so I'd be asking questions like, who's that sitting over there? And they'd look at me like, who you talking about, eh? And I'd be like, the lady that's sitting there. And, so they sort of brush things off, and then as maybe a year or two progressed, all of a sudden I was seeing doctors because everybody would start to think in the family I was a little nuts upstairs.
Right.
So after a while, I learned to just keep my mouth shut. And then I came across the psychic medium that I was actually referred to by a nurse, believe it or not. And I went and saw her. Her name was Ruda. And she was listening to my story and that. And she looked at me and she goes, you have the purest white aura. And I looked at her and I go, what's an aura? And she goes, well, do you see colors on other people? And I said, absolutely do. And she goes, that's an aura. And from that point on, she guided me, like mentored me, and just realized that I had mediumship abilities that I was born with. And that's why
Wow.
I had the pure white aura. And she explained to me that usually babies have the pure white aura, and people around 2 to 3 years of age usually start losing the color, and they start getting the natural color of like blue, purples, and whatnot that surround the bodies. And
Right.
so she taught me all that, and she got me into tarot card readings and stuff. And it wasn't until I was about 27 I woke up one night and I saw this huge, it had to have been 7 feet, 8 feet tall shadow person. And I'll admit it, at first, it scared the daylights out of me because when you open your eyes, you're not expecting to see somebody standing at the end of
Yeah,
your bed.
exactly. And it's going to give you a
And
jump.
yes, and
Hi, Bill.
so the first thing I did is I actually screamed and I put the covers over my head. And I thought to myself, well, what am I doing? This isn't you, you know?
Right.
So I got my cell phone, I turned on the light, and I thought to myself from that day, I thought, I got to learn to get some answers. So I started picking up books and magazines and stuff, and reading into the paranormal and stuff. And that's what led me into the paranormal. And then it was, I think, around the year 2000, 2022, maybe more so. I joined a paranormal team called the Niagara Paranormal Research Society. And we lasted for about maybe 2.5 years before the team folded. And I thought, well, I got to get myself on another team.
Right.
So I ended up on another team in Stratford. The same thing happened. They folded, and I thought, well, I got to get my dream on the road, and I got to keep it going. So I ended up forming a team of my own called Ontario's Paranormal Investigators. And people sat back and they laughed at me and they said, you won't last no more than 2 to 3 years. And well, eventually I made it 15 years before I actually got struck by a car walking home from work back
Oh, my
last
goodness.
September. And from there, from September till this point, I'm still on recovery. I still haven't been cleared to investigate yet, so by the doctors. But during my time of recovery, my one friend, she pulled me to the side. Her name's Amber. We're sort of dating now. She pulled me to the side because she see me becoming more so depressed.
Right.
I was losing faith in myself. We went on a long hike, and she asked me, she goes, "Do you believe yourself anymore?" And to be honest, at the point, I didn't, because I, during the time I talked to Amber, I sold off my team. And there's more to the story. I'll tell about that coming up, how I got back into the team. But she said I had 19 years of stories inside here. And she goes, sorry. She told me I need to get them out. And I said, the problem is I know how to write, but every time I do, all I'm doing is drawing in deaf ears. And she understood what I meant by that. And she goes, let me guide you. She's a school teacher herself.
Wonderful.
She helped me work on my English, my writing skills. She enrolled me in a few classes during my recovery time, online.
Right.
I got into writing, but I still doubted her and myself. And I woke up one morning in June. It was actually June 12th to be exact. And on my one website and all my insights and that, I noticed I reached a million viewers.
That's
And
wonderful.
that's when I instantly messaged her and thanked her. And since that point, I'm scheduled to talk to a publisher this Monday to get my first book out.
It's fantastic. Yes, I mean, keeping track of that. So it's
Yeah,
well deserved. You should be very proud.
yes.
Welcome,
And
Jonathan. Welcome.
then I got a phone call from Alicia, the lady I sold the team to, and she had a tragedy happen to her. She ended up with cancer, and by the time she found out she had it, she had stage 4 cancer. I tried my hardest to get an investigation going because I knew she was limited time.
Right.
Yeah, and we worked around the schedule. I bought back half into the team. Oh, hi, Obsidian.
Hi, puppy.
He always cheers me up when I get like this. So,
Yeah,
and
that's good. That's good.
and we're scheduled to go for halfway through July here, and it never happened because she ended up passing on just a few weeks ago.
Yes, I do remember you posting that. Our prayers and thoughts are with you.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of ups and downs lately, but my goal now is to, in memory of Alicia, to get the team back on the road. And right now I'm in discussions of trying to purchase the team fully because right now her sister doesn't want to actually have part into it. So right
Okay.
now we're asking her brother because I think it's right that it should still be part of the family before I take it all fully over if that's the case.
Right.
And so Obsidian. So I'm working on a few things right now, and including, believe it or not, I got a few partners with me along the side. As you know, Karrie's one of them with the magazine.
Yes.
I met her through the American Paranormal magazine group back in the time, but now they changed the name because it's the American Paranormal Investigators. Oh, I think page. I'm not sure. Can't quite remember. I got so much on my mind. And come on, you get away from there. It's not time to think. Come on. And I met her through there, and of all the men's on the page, I chose her because of the work I've seen her and how she monitors and how she keeps the page safe and whatnot.
Right.
I also collaborated with Shannon. She's from the United Kingdom, and we're going to work on some stories to see what other cultures and that their how paranormal activities and their stories not collaborate sort of with the American stories and so on, and the Asian
Right.
stories, and what the different names and meanings are with in the different cultures and that. And we're going to try to get a book going on that. And then my newest co-partner is I'll be meeting him actually tonight at Dustin Wade's manor here in Woodstock. They're actually going to be doing an investigation there. I just released an article on him. His name is Jean. Uh, oh,
Are you talking about Jeff?
yeah,
Yes, yes. I had him on just a short time ago. Love Jeff.
yeah. And so we're actually going to have a game show coming out. And what we're going to do is have two teams, paranormal teams, face off. It's almost like a family feud, but this one's going to be sort of different. The longer it takes you to answer a question, the lower the point system is. So you start off with 4 points in the first round, and every 15 seconds that goes by, you lose a point before you answer the question. If you answer the question bang, dead on, it's 4 points. But if it takes
Oh,
you 15 seconds, you get 3 points. If it takes you 30 seconds, you get 2 points. You see how it goes by. And so that's still in the works, and we're trying to get that out for September.
yes. I seen the
And
article, so I was going to ask you how you were going
yeah,
to do this, and where are you going to be airing the game show?
well, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do it basically how we're doing it here.
Okay.
And so there's a few things we still got to work on, like if there's a tie at the end, what we do and so on, right? And so that way there's a winner to the final round, which we call the Scions. And the same thing is you basically got to answer the questions, and it's
Right.
basically it's a lot of work between me and my co-host, because we got to go out there and we got to find out how many people would, like, we'll ask like 10 people on a certain thing, and whatever the answer is, right?
Right.
And sort of thing, the survey. And so say if 7 people said say The Walking Dead, what would you see more of, right? Zombies or ghosts or what, right? Well, of course,
Right.
the number one answer would be zombies, because people would probably say that 7, and then the other people would probably say 3 would be ghosts and so on. You know what I'm saying there? It's and it's almost like the Family Feud point system near the end. Same thing, but
Right.
and what we'll do is the week you'll be once a week, and then the following week we'll have the same team that won come back and face off against another team to keep
Right.
the remainder championship. But if they lose, then the new team gets crowned champion, sort of thing. And
Oh,
but
thanks for joining, Jonathan. Don't work
like I
too
said,
hard.
there's a lot of work still to be done with this. So
Oh, but it sounds like it's going to be really fun.
yeah.
Uh, and are you going to just do it? Is it mainly going to be Canadian based, or are you going to be able to involve United States or UK as well, Australia,
Uh, what
all
I'm
over?
trying to do is get this worldwide. And
Oh,
like
wonderful.
I said, we might change the name to this to something else, because, like I said, it's just in the works right now.
Right.
So I I got to speak with my co-partner more about this, and so we got a couple months to get this on schedule. So
You got to get you and Jeff on at the same time so we could pick your brain about it.
yes.
Um,
Another thing is I got ADHD, so my mind's
you're
constantly going.
constantly
So
going. Well, no, that's
yeah,
why you're always so busy. I get
yeah.
it. Yeah. Jeez. Um, let's see here now. You and Carrie Ann are doing the the magazine. I'm sure you have other people as well. How did you said you met Carrie Ann in a paranormal group? Is that how you met her?
Yeah, we met through the American Paranormal magazine, and because or say about maybe a year and a half ago, they're asking for people to become admins with the page and help keep it safe and whatnot. And so a few of us got the honor of doing it, and I met Carrie through there. And but we didn't really start talking and that until I noticed I was getting really busy, and I noticed the work that she could do in the other group there, and I thought I got to hit her up because she's doing a better job than the other admins in the
Sure.
group, and I thought this is the one to ask, and I approached her, and since then we've been in negotiations and whatnot, and once she's back up and going, I'm gonna have her as an assistant to help me join in the interviews with Zoom interviews
Right.
and article writing and so on. So
So, oh, that's great. So yeah, you guys
yeah,
really got it going together. As far as, of course, right now you said because of your injury, you can't go on investigations, which could you tell us about some of your investigations? Were they mostly in Canada or did you travel all over?
well, I mostly did here in Ontario, Canada, and I've never been outside of Ontario.
Oh, okay.
But I've been in the States before, but not for investigations. But like, I've been down in the States for things like shopping and that before. So
So yeah, when paranormal is strictly in Canada.
yeah,
Because yeah, but I've heard, through other people, Canada is just like a mecca for paranormal investigating investigators.
yes.
Do you have a favorite place that you've been to?
Do I have what?
A favorite place that you have investigated?
Oh, I got quite a few.
Good.
My one place I'd have to say was one of my favorites was the Bruce Haven campground up in Bruce County here in Ontario.
Okay.
Uh, I got a call in. It was basically for mediumship work at the time because they wanted to know about three missing girls that went missing back in the 1960s, and one of them went missing in the early 70s. So I got called. I went up there with my ex fiance at the time. We did a land survey tour around the area and that before we took in the team. And that investigation is still ongoing to this day. We found a shocking discovery up there, and which we did have to call in the authorities after. So it was shocking, but like I said, I can't give out further details
Right.
because
No.
it's
Yeah, we
still an
understand
ongoing
that.
investigation. And but yeah, we've that was one of my favorites. The simple fact was because our camping was paid for the weekend. Our all our food and everything they provided. Free firewood. Uh, they even cautioned off. They allowed us to caution off the whole area we were investigating, so nobody
Right.
could go through, which was nice. And we had over what was it, Don? Over 40 acres of woods,
Wow.
Don. At Bruce Haven, we had over 40 acres of woods to investigate.
What?
We had over 40 acres to investigate at Bruce Haven.
I think so.
Yeah. And
Wow.
It's a big area.
yeah, and the only thing I had to do a safety meeting because the potential of bears and rattlesnakes up in that area.
Oh
And
yeah.
I had to tell the team to make sure when you were make sure you had some hiking boots that covered your ankles at least, because if you're walking along, those things can strike in a second without warning. And myself, I've never been bitten by one, thank God. And that night we never ran into bears, but we did run into quite a few deer that night.
Yeah. Okay. That's a little more
So
pleasant.
yeah, And then another favorite place of mine was the Whiskey Rocks here in Ontario. It was a bar
Okay.
in St. Thomas, Ontario, and they had a men's section and a ladies section back in the day. But in the men's section, whatever it was, it would not allow any of my female investigators go into the men's section.
Really?
It was actually holding them off. So us guys were taunting the girls that night, like, ha ha ha, look, we got our private section. You can't get in, right?
Right.
So we taunted them about that night, and we kept saying to them, now if we want privacy and we don't want to hear the women talk, we just have to come in here.
Yeah, there you go.
We were joking with them, eh? So
That's kind of
that was
strange.
another favorite investigation of mine because we actually captured a photo, and I never say we've captured. I always say we may have captured because
Right.
you got your skeptics out there and that also too, right? And I've always used the term that we may have captured because that way when somebody's reading it, they're not going to sit there and say, how do you know you've captured something, right? So
Right.
what we captured that night, or possibly caught that night, was it almost looks like a black shadow of a man wearing an old-fashioned cowboy hat and the trench coat.
Oh.
And that hotel sits in an area where the area was built in the late 1800s. So I'm wondering if, as I've done a lot of research in there, there's that town practically almost had a fire on every block that
Oh, wow.
practically almost burnt every block down to the ground. And I'm thinking, that reminds me of a thing I was reading on Facebook not long ago, how people were saying how they used to burn down the buildings back in the day.
Yeah.
The old buildings that look,
Yep.
you know, that were built by the, can't think of the names right now, but
Well, that was very
there's,
common back in that time where everything was either
yeah,
burned or did burn.
yeah. And the more you read about it, they did have a lot of fires back in the day. And I always wondered, how could stone and marble burn?
Well, it's just the wood parts of the structure would go up, but then you'd have the
Yeah,
remnants of whatever's left
like
over.
the wooden frame and that, but
Yeah.
but I've always had questions about that. But anyways, as I researched more about the Whiskey Rocks, I found out it went from being a hotel to a bus place to a restaurant to the bar it was, well, which the bar is actually closed down today, which I found out they closed back in May, I think it was. They just shut down because of inflation and that going on.
Right.
And but there's a lot of history there that I thought was really intriguing, and I started writing a book about that, but I never completed it. But I think I'm going to in the future. So it's
That
another one
sounds like
I'll
it's pretty
probably,
interesting.
yeah. So
So if it has some like really good history, yeah, I would definitely finish that.
yeah. Sorry if I'm talking and if I'm going off here and here. It's just
You're all
very
right. You're all
easy.
right. This is pretty much it's open mic. You go as you go in direction you
Yeah.
want. As far as investigations, now those were your favorites. Have you ever been to a place where it's bothered you so much that you'll never go to again?
I've been to such one in London, Ontario. We actually were doing a live recording of the place at the time. I can actually send you that video. And
Sure, I'd like to check that out. Yeah.
I ended up, I remember hearing a teammate asking me if I was okay, but as he's asking me, everything sounded so echoing. And during that time, I could feel my energy being sucked out of me. I knew I was in trouble, but I couldn't do anything about it. I started shaking. And the last thing I remember is waking up on the stairs. My teammates were trying to pull me up the stairs.
Oh,
And when I turned around, my legs were levitating in midair.
and where was this?
This was in London, Ontario.
And what was the building or the site or?
Well, back in the day, the street used to be called Victoria Street. It used to be part of a different town at the time, but the town grew in with London, and today it's called Chesley Avenue in London. And back in the day, they used to have a cemetery there.
Oh,
Well, when the towns grew into each other, they went in there with a bulldozer. If the families couldn't afford to move the bodies, or who didn't get moved, got left there, a bulldozer came in, knocked the stones and that down. The house
oh,
was built over a cemetery.
oh boy. Okay, well that
And
explains that.
so when we're doing a investigation in their backyard, we actually, when we were in the one spot, we struck a stick through the ground and we hit something solid. And when we noticed that, we dug some of the earth up just to find out it was one of the gravestones.
Oh, geez. That's just awful.
And so I said to them, I said, best bet is, because they don't want to leave the house. And I told them, your best bet is to go out and offer a gift to the spirits. And whenever you offer it, you leave it there.
Right.
Well, they still get activity today, but the activity has calmed down ever since they've given a gift.
Right.
And what they gave was actually native tobacco. It's tobacco you don't smoke. They call it ceremonial tobacco, SEMA or something like that.
Okay.
But from my point of view, I call it ceremonial tobacco, one of the four medicines. Because you got your sage, sweetgrass, cedar, and ceremonial tobacco, and that's what they offered. They put it all over the yard, all over their house, and they don't touch it. The activity has calmed down, and but they say the children are still pretty active in the home, which they don't mind. Which
Right.
they said they didn't mind that, but the major one that they were concerned about was the one that attacked me. Because the reason why we got called in there, because I never believed this before in my life until I seen it with my own eyes. All the years I've done paranormal investigations, the story was that when I got up there, they said things would fly across the room and that. Well, I'm actually sitting there listening to their story, and on in the corner of my eye, this bottle goes flying across the room and bounces off the wall.
Right.
So we go in the kitchen.
Hi,
There's
Ian.
there's no door to get out,
Right.
and there's no way for anybody to be in the room, without being seen going in and out where we were sitting. And I looked at her and I said, out of all my years, I honestly thought people were just full of it when they said things flew across the room. I said, until I sat here and seen it with my own two eyes.
Right.
But the live video, I'll send that to you. It's a long video. It's about 45 minutes long. The funniest thing was, it happened on a Halloween night, and there was a full moon.
Ah, so it was the perfect setting for spook.
Yeah, and I got a heads up in the beginning of the investigation, because you'll notice in the beginning of the video, I tried to lead the team back up the stairs, to get, do our game planning and get more equipment and that.
Right.
But whatever it was, allowed the other team members up the stairs, but I tried to get up the first step, I got shoved back. So I tried to get up the step again, I got shoved back again. I thought, okay, whatever, right? So I never took that as a warning, which I should have, and it was my mistake through all my years of
Right.
investigating. I should have known better that something was about to happen or something, and instead I started taunting. And I thought, as I'm taunting at the moment, I'm thinking, should I actually be doing this?
Right. Are you pushing
And
your
all of
luck?
a sudden, the gum that was in my mouth started melting. and I had to take it out of my mouth because it was almost like so like it came out of my mouth almost like a spider web like type sort of thing. It was so warm. It was hot, warm. And I'm thinking, how could that be? Because down the basement here, it's cool. You can
Right.
practically almost see our breath. But this is really warm coming out of my mouth. And that was another sign that I ignored. And I'm thinking, I'm being targeted here, after I'm watching this video, and
Right.
so we started investigating in the basement. I just got the team to continue upstairs to, get some equipment and that as I discussed what was going on the stairs with the other team members.
Right.
And so we decided to go in the basement, start investigating some more. And then I thought, well, okay, let's get the team up in the attic where the children are supposed to be, because we got toys for the children's spirits, right? Something we always do. So I was getting excited, getting ready to go up there, and and then all of a sudden we went into the other room in the basement. Every team member could feel this dark energy, and all of a sudden, my ex, she goes to me, she goes, "Everybody stop!" And all of a sudden, you could just feel it, and it was just like the temperature dropped, the negativity in there was just building up. It was to breathe was something else. And like I said, my one teammate started calling me, and all of a sudden, all I could hear was like echoing, like somebody talking to me through in a cave, as they're talking, they're getting fainter as it's
Right.
echoing. And next thing you know, I wake up on the stairs, and my legs were hovering. And I still remember the next day having slivers in my fingernails trying to claw myself up the stairs. And I had bruise marks of, whatever it was that grabbed my legs. I had marks all over my legs, and like I
Right.
said, I'll send you the video. It's just, it's something else.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. That sounds very
And
interesting.
yeah, and but like I said, it's one place I won't. I've been in the house since, but I will not go back in the basement
Right. Well, I don't
because I
blame you
go back.
there.
I did. I always follow up with my client, and we
Right.
went back and we did a documentary after. But I would not go past the living room because
So
why?
do
There's
you
one door
normally
was
just
right there.
do more residential investigations, or is it anything goes?
Uh, well, over my years, I've done a total of 1,333 investigations that I've documented, and with I've got signatures of everybody, and that I've investigated, like cemeteries. I've done places like the Blue Ghost Tunnel, the Screaming Tunnel here in Ontario, Canada. I've done more so residential businesses and abandoned places than anything. So,
Okay. And
and
do you still put together teams and train them, or is that something that you're not doing any longer?
yeah, once in a while I do once a year, twice a year, I'll do a workshop.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll put on a post, and what I do is I charge $150 because it's a 6-week course, and that pays for all your paperwork and your supplies and whatnot that you need. And you can either do it in person or online, and everything's sent to you, everything you need to know, and there's your quizzes and your tests. And the ones that I do here right in Ontario, if they do online, I even give them an option that for your final test, we can go to an abandoned location, which makes it more exciting for the,
Right.
for the workshop. And there's one location where I do train them, and which they call Two Eyes. It's a very safe place. It's abandoned. It wasn't haunted till the 80s, till somebody hung themselves there. And
Oh,
I'll take a team or the group of individuals out there that I've had the workshop with, and I'll do their final marks by doing an investigation. And I sit back and watch them, and we go from there. And if they're doing something wrong they shouldn't or something like that, I'll stop them. Like if it's safety or something, like,
Right.
and because the way I look at it, it's best to teach them when they're in person. That way they get a actual feel of what an actual investigation is like by taking your team of,
Right. More hands-on approach.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Do you encourage the use of, all the electronic equipment, or do you let them know that maybe they should just rely more on their senses than the electronics? Which do you prefer?
Well, myself, I rely on my mediumship abilities, but if they, like I say to them, if they don't really have that kind of an ability, you also can go be schooled to become a medium as well, because I've seen courses out there for psychic mediums and that too. And but the thing is if they don't think they can rely on their senses, then yes, use the equipment. But one thing I don't agree with are basically the ghost apps, because I find they don't do the same thing as the real equipment out there. Because I find the ghost apps are more entertaining, and I find a lot of times they'll give you the same names over and over again.
Yeah,
Therefore, if you
exactly.
use an actual spirit box, it won't give you the same names over and over again. Uh, if you use an EMF ghost app, I find they don't do the same as an actual EMF,
Right.
and they give two different things. And like I've had people argue with me over them, but I'm not here to argue, so we're here to
Probably,
learn
well, you can
together.
tell them it's their
So, but
preference.
like I say, that's just my point of view, right? So,
Right, right. They have their own preference, and they'll
yes.
just do their own thing. Okay, let's move on to the magazine. What made you guys want to start a magazine in the first place?
Well, I got out there, and the reason why I wanted to start off the magazine because I wanted to let people know, like I just started writing. I wanted to show off some of my writing. It wasn't taking off at first until I thought, well, why don't I start interviewing teams and that, And when I started interviewing them, I started learning myself about other teams, what they went through, exact same ups and downs, some of them
Right.
with same things I went through. I What I wanted to do, the reason why I started the magazine off was because I wanted to give out some of my advice. I wanted to let them know that if you're in the paranormal field, feel free to hit me up for an interview. Feel free if you want an ad. If you're looking for a title of a book, explain to me what your book's about. I'll help you with the title of your book. I do these services for them for free, as
Right.
long as it's in the paranormal field. But if it's other businesses, I charge money, like in real estate and that, for ads, I'll charge money. But if it's in the paranormal field, I know what it's like to struggle, in that,
Right.
and I'll do their ads and that for free. Like I said, you hit me up for an interview. I'll put an article out there because I know it draws in spotlights to their pages, their websites and stuff.
Right.
Same reason why I thought let's do team or individual of the month, and that way people nominate teams and individuals like psychic mediums and authors and that to us. And what we'll do is we'll take the nominations, we'll lay them down, and then we'll post them on a poll for people to vote. And that way, at the same time, it lets people know, like, I never heard of this team. I'm gonna go check them out, right?
Right.
So, my focus is to help other teams get some of the attention that they deserve, because, like I said, it's hard to struggle It's a
Yeah,
hard
yes, it
struggle out
is.
there to get the attention, especially if you got a good team. And sometimes all it takes is a little breakthrough or a little article from somebody to, help get you out there. And my first book is practically, I got permission from a lot of them from the articles that I did with them to get my first book out there. And the one that actually helped me also get a breakthrough in my writing was, believe it or not, author and director of the Bel Air House was Kristen Lee.
Nice.
She approached me. She said, I got a story for you. You know, I got tons of stories. We started talking. I got an article out on her. And from there, we still speak back and forth. Uh, but yeah, she's helped encourage me as well, in with writing and so on. And she's gave me permission to use some of the stuff that we've talked about not into my book, and which is going to be fascinating. Uh, but yeah, quite a few of them that I interviewed, you know, and gotten to know. It's just amazing what they go through and what they've done for people, and
Right.
one advice I've also said to them, if you go to residential homes, ask the public for some donations of stuffed animals, night lights, flashlights, crayons, and coloring books. So that way, when you go, you got something to take for the kids. The night lights and stuffed animals are for insurance and safety, and that come nighttime, because when they call back to their clients, for uh, my mind just went blank, but
Well, you're bringing a sense of comfort to the children
yeah,
at the residence. So, I mean, it's a very nice gesture.
yeah, and when you keep in touch with your clients, you'll find that the activity's gone down because you got a night light in the bathroom, one in the hallway, one in the bedroom. Well, there's some of the shadows eliminated, you know. And
Right.
if they do see an unfamiliar shadow, they got a flashlight beside their dresser. They can turn it on and see what it is. Because a lot of times they'll see the sticks not moving from the outside of the windows, right? They flash the flashlight, they don't see it no more, and they look at the twigs outside like when you explain it to the children, right? And it takes a lot of stress off the parents at night because, believe it or not, some of the children will start sleeping through the night when you actually have this extra security features for the
Right.
nighttime. And I'm not saying that eliminates paranormal activity, but it helps reinsure that the children feel safer at night. And there's been a few times I've been called back into some places, and because I found out after I did a home cleansing in the one home that I found out later on that the one teenage daughter decided to go, let's play with the Ouija board.
Yeah, that's always how it starts.
So at first, I asked the mother, I said, well, did anybody go back into the barn where I said not to go into? She goes, not that I know of, I'll ask my kids. They all said no. Well, during my visit, the one actually looked at me and she goes, I gotta tell you something, but please tell me I'm not gonna be in trouble. I said, you're not gonna be in trouble as long as you speak the truth, right? And she goes, well, I was in the barn. Me and my friend were curious. We went down below where he told us not to, and we played with the Ouija board. I looked at her and I said, thank you for telling me the truth. I said, but I said, I got some work to do now.
Yeah, yeah. It
So
sounds like it.
still to
What is
this
it?
day,
How do you, not to interrupt, sorry, but when you're thinking about doing an article on somebody, is there certain guidelines that you go by, or is it just by word of mouth as far as a team or an individual?
well, sometimes if they have a story to tell me, which a lot of them rather talk about their teams and their personal experiences or themselves. But if they have a story, sometimes I'll start working on an article, and sometimes they'll come back to me and say, "Well, I'd rather keep this confidential," and it's like, okay, we can keep it confidential. I got like about 4 articles that I had to put a halt on because, at first they want me to, and then after they put a stop to it.
Okay.
Uh, I want to do an article, and it was actually when I put on a suggestion on for the fans on our page about what would they like to see more of, uh, about me writing about. And one gave me a topic about she would like to see more about children with psychic abilities and how they deal with it and whatnot. And I thought, well, that seems like a good article. So right now, what I'm trying to do is I want to try to find some children and teenagers that where their parents would be. I prefer the parents to be there too during the Zoom interview because they got some of the stories to feed up with too, right? And what I like to do is get an article out on children and teens with psychic abilities and uh, and get their stories and whatnot and their experiences and so on.
That would, yeah, would be an interesting read, that's for
Yeah.
sure. A really good, interesting read. Your magazine, is it only sold in Canada, or can it be purchased over on this side of the
Well,
border?
right now I'm still waiting on my government taxation numbers for GST, HST, and whatnot to come through. And once I get that on the roll, or once that comes in, I can start launching out the first magazine.
Okay, so
So
everything, all the articles and stuff are just basically online right now.
right now, yes,
Okay, okay.
until I get all the
All the paperwork together.
well, I sent in the paperwork. Right now, I'm just waiting for all the tax registration numbers to come through and
Right.
whatnot. And once they do, like I say, I can start the launch of it and hopefully go
It's
from there.
very
So
interesting.
I was kind of hoping to have it ready by September, but
Right.
it may be November, December, probably January by the
Yeah,
time.
because all that, yeah, it's a bit of a process. It takes a long time.
Yeah,
Just like the book that you're doing, I know it takes a while to get everything together and then get it published and get it out there.
exactly.
So what are your future plans for the magazine, for investigating, and just basically for yourself in the paranormal?
Well, my future plans right now is to get my second book on the go with my other when I collaborated with Shani in England there about getting other opinions on paranormal stories from around the world, you know, from what their encounters are, how they're different from ours and whatnot. And future investigations, I want to, right now, Ontario's Paranormal Investigators is looking for a lead investigator because right now, like I said, I'm not medically cleared to take the team out.
Right.
And I brought back a few members, but uh, Richard himself, he doesn't want to lead the team because he's up there in age. He's in his 60s. And he says that's too much for him.
Yeah, all that. Yeah,
So
stomping around and climbing through stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
I know how he
so
feels.
yeah. So
Bill's got a question for you. He wants to know, what is your first book and where are we going to be able to buy it?
my first book, it's called Into the. Stuck in here. There. Okay.
Oh, he froze up on us, guys. Well, as soon as he thaws out, he could just let us know what the name is and
Okay.
where
It's
will we.
called Into the Unknown.
Okay.
With authors and mediums. I just lost it again. Into the unknown conversations with psychic mediums, authors, and directors.
Oh, okay. And of course, like I said, it won't probably be out until once. Do you have a general idea of?
Well, I'm speaking with the publisher on the 15th of this month, which is Monday. Where I'm going from there, so I'm kind of hoping. I'm letting people hoping. Telling them I'm hoping for pre-sale by September.
Okay, so there you go, Bill, and
And
everybody.
anybody that orders a pre-sale copy will get an autographed copy and something else along the lines with it.
That's wonderful. That's
So,
wonderful. Well, Don, I want to thank you for joining us and giving us a little insight to your world and your history in the magazine. I enjoy a lot of the articles, and
thank you.
we're going to look forward to the book coming out. And hopefully, you will do well with the sales. And I hope you will be on the mend and doing 100% very, very soon.
Yes.
And like I said, thank you again for coming on. Thank you for everybody joining us in the chat. And always remember to join us here, right here on the Raw Side. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.